In 2021, Congress slipped a provision into a 2,135-page bill that would have permanently closed a tax strategy used quietly for 11 years. No announcement, no public hearing, just a paragraph buried so deep that most Americans never knew the strategy existed before it almost disappeared. The people who had been using it, they said nothing. It is called the Backdoor Roth IRA. And it lives inside a gap in the tax code so deliberately quiet that private wealth advisors have referred to it in internal conversations, not in public, as a structural oversight Congress never intended to leave open. Here is the background. In 1997, Congress set income limits on Roth IRA contributions. If you earned above roughly $150,000 as a single filer, you were locked out. No Roth, no tax-free growth. The door, as they designed it, was closed. That was the official structure. But in 2006, a second door was quietly built into the same wall. That year, Congress passed the Tax Increase Prevention and Reconciliation Act. Buried inside it, starting in 2010, the income limit on Roth conversions, not contributions, would be removed entirely. The distinction sounds technical. It is not, because a conversion is a different action. You open a traditional IRA. You make a non-deductible contribution after tax money. Then you immediately convert it to a Roth. The tax hit on conversion is nearly zero. And from that point forward, everything inside that account grows permanently tax-free. The door Congress locked in 1997 had a second entrance they left unlocked for anyone who knew where to look. The IRS acknowledged the strategy officially in 2014. They issued a formal notice. They gave it language. They effectively blessed it. And still, for years, almost no one in the mainstream talked about it. Financial advisors on the inside knew. High earners knew. Their conversations stayed inside their offices. The official reason to be cautious about the backdoor Roth has always been the same: the step transaction doctrine. The IRS can treat two legally separate steps as a single transaction if their only purpose is to achieve a tax result. Neither step would produce a loan. Convert too fast, the argument goes, and the IRS might unwind it. That warning circulated widely. Financial journalists repeated it. Advisors cited it. Here is what did not circulate. The IRS never once invoked that doctrine against a backdoor Roth conversion in over a decade. Across millions of transactions, billions of dollars quietly moved into tax-free accounts. They had the tool. They chose not to use it. If this strategy was genuinely dangerous, if the IRS considered it abusive, why did enforcement never come? Now watch what happens next. In September 2021, the House Ways and Means Committee passed a provision that would have ended all of this. Not phased out, not grandfathered, closed, permanently. As of January 1, 2022, the mega backdoor Roth, the 401k version that allows contributions up to $66,000 a year into a tax-free account, was included in the same provision. Gone. The committee vote happened in a single week. No public comment period, no town hall, no press release aimed at ordinary Americans, but among private wealth managers, calls started immediately. Get in now. Move fast, before the window shuts. And here is what makes the timing impossible to ignore. The people best positioned to act, the high earners, the private clients, the family offices, had already been using the backdoor Roth for 11 years. They were not scrambling. They had already moved their money. Everything inside a Roth account would remain there, growing tax-free, permanently beyond the reach of ordinary income tax. The provision would have stopped future contributions. What had already been sheltered, untouchable. In other words, the people who knew spent 11 years quietly loading these accounts while the strategy stayed invisible to most Americans. Congress moved to close the door at precisely the moment ordinary people were starting to find it. The Build Back Better Act collapsed in December 2021. Senator Joe Manchin announced he would not support it. The backdoor Roth provision died with the rest of the bill. It is still legal today, but notice what happened inside that window. A strategy embedded in the tax code since 2010 was barely known to the general public 11 years later. It did not circulate through newspapers or primetime financial coverage. It lived in advisor meetings, private newsletters, high-net-worth client calls. The moment it began spreading through personal finance forums, YouTube channels, Reddit threads, the legislative response appeared within months. There is a pattern in tax policy that does not get discussed. The tools available to reduce tax exposure at the highest income levels are not publicized. They move privately, through professional networks, in language calibrated to stay inside those networks. The backdoor Roth may have spread too far to be quietly buried again. The loophole is still open. Use it now and you claim what 11 years of quiet users already took. But the real question is not about the backdoor Roth. It is about what did not leak. How many strategies exactly like this, embedded in tax code, circulating in private, protected by the language barrier between wealth and everyone else, are still sitting in rooms you have never been invited into?